Hey y'all, it's Lex. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm sitting in our guest bedroom slash office. I've been using this space to work from home off and on throughout the pandemic, and I just got a new job. So I am going to be working from home for the foreseeable future, and I need to do something with this space. Like, it's not giving what it's supposed to give for me to work from home indefinitely. So I need to really put some effort into making it more inspiring and more Lex. So that's what we're working on today. I don't know if you guys have seen our foyer makeover. I will link it up in the cards for you up here, but if you haven't seen that video, it's bomb. It looks great. I love it. But painting the 9-foot ceilings in that space, like, I have no desire to paint anything right now. Maybe I'll come back and paint this space later on. I doubt it. I just can't. I can't right now. Like, I can't do it. So we won't be painting in here. My goal is to transform this space with color and other components of the design. So I'm going to show you guys what I'm thinking about doing to this room, but let me start by showing you the room. So this is our office space guest bedroom situation. You can see that the space is really bare. It hasn't really been utilized fully, and all of the office related information and appliances are stuffed in one corner away from everything else. The room has a decent amount of space, but isn't being utilized adequately. Now that you've seen the space, let's get into the design. So this is the wall that you see when you first walk into the room. I'm going to start by repositioning that cube storage set that you saw there before. I've owned this bad boy for years, and it is definitely something I plan to continue to use to store office and desk supplies. Above the cube storage, I want to put a DIY acrylic dry erase board. I decided to go with acrylic, even though it's more expensive right now, because it's sleek and I know that it'll blend with the room. In the space between the cube storage and the door to our patio, I want to put a DIY pegboard, something that I can use to store craft supplies that are commonly used, that are now stuffed in my closet and difficult to access. Once those anchor pieces are in place, I'm going to add those touches that really bring the room together: a set of curtains, a sofa bed, so that this room definitely remains guest room space when needed, the original L-shaped desk, and add a new rug, all of which, the sofa bed, the rug, and the desk, are sourced from WAYFAIR. Links will be down below. And then last but not least, I'm going to be adding a DIY Shiplap panel accent wall to bring this space together. So here is my to-do list and my supply list for this makeover. I like to keep a running list so I can check things off as I go. All of this will be listed down in the description box for you. And with that, we're headed to Home Depot. Once we made it back home, I took some time out to actually measure this wall so that I could transfer those measurements onto the shiplap paneling. You can put this paneling in either direction, but I used it in the direction that created the least amount of work for me. So I'm just tracing out the cutouts I need for my outlets, cutting those out with a circular saw, and then taking these pieces upstairs to dry fit them. Once each piece was fit into place, we secured it to the wall with 1.5-inch brad nails. Once the main part of the wall was covered, I took scrap pieces and fit them together to cover this last 2-foot space above the door. Once those pieces were secured, I filled in any gaps with a paintable wood filler. here is when I realized I lied and that I definitely needed to paint. The husband and I double teamed this project. I sanded down the wood filler and wiped it down before starting to paint the edges and corners of our paneling. He started the painting in the main part of the paneling. And before we knew it, this went by pretty quick. Like, this wasn't that bad as far as painting goes. This only took one coat and a few touch-ups in certain areas to achieve. Once I sourced the sofa bed for this space, I knew I was going to use the green we used to paint our doors in our foyer to make a small accent wall. It's the tiniest detail, but it really is eye-catching. And we are officially done painting. Welcome to day 2. So the wall is looking pretty good. I'm gonna do some touch-up paint on the corners mostly is where I see it, and some spots where I made some mistakes. We'll talk about that later. But I'm gonna do some touch-up paint and then we can really get started with the rest of the room. So up there in the corner, I've got some paint touch-ups I need to do. I've got to completely fix this little cutout around the light. I got this cutout wrong and then this one down here right. I don't even know how to explain that, but I need to cut out a piece and kind of do the same thing that I did up here to put them together. Not too worried about it. And then maybe some touch-ups up here and we can go. Area above and around the door is caulked. It looks really great. I'm not gonna do this area behind the door because no one is going to see that, and if you're looking that hard, you need to get out. So I think I'm gonna put a piece of like molding up around the ceiling there to fix our little mistakes up there. But other than that, the wall looks great, and I think we can move on to the next step. Now I'm cleaning out the room of any remaining products I used to paint or to install the accent wall. I'm gonna vacuum and prepare to lay down the rug. While we wait for these spots that I wiped down on the wall to dry, they're mostly dry, I'm gonna go ahead and bring in the rug. Say hi, Oakley. Okay. It's big, but hear me out. I didn't want to paint, so I figured the rug needs to be big, bold, beautiful, and I probably could have done like a 7x9, maybe even a 8x6, something smaller than this. But this is an 8x12 or an 8x10, and it's huge in this room. But I think it will help the fact that we're not really gonna paint. So roll around. Wanted to give you a better view of the rug. I really love this print. It's supposed to be vintage-esque. This rug is from WAYFAIR. That's where I get most of my rugs. I will link it down below. Now that the rug is down, we can start arranging the furniture. What do we think of this new setup? Comment down below and let me know which placement you prefer, the first one or this one, the second one. Okay, so I'm gonna set up the rest of the desk features in a little bit, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the couch because it's gonna be such a major anchor for the room. So I'm gonna go ahead and build it. This is a pull-out twin size bed love seat. And I chose a really bold color to help with the fact we already know I wasn't painting. I know I lied, whatever. But I'm gonna set up the couch, and from there, I think I'll be better able to figure out what to do with this space here. So I finally got the couch all put together. It is really, really beautiful. I love this color. I love the vibe. It's everything. And no, it is not a color that I picked out of this rug. I just thought these tones were complementary, and I was right. So that's where this little green accent wall comes from. It's inspired by the couch. Love all of that. We already pulled the couch out to check and make sure it had enough room. And it does. It does not interfere with the desk at all. And there's maybe that much space between them when it's pulled out. So yes, I'm loving it. We're gonna take a little break and then we'll come back and set everything else up. So this is how we set those up. I ended up putting this one on this little green wall because it fit there perfectly, and it looks really, really cute, like that pop of color against the green. And this is just the back centerpiece of my desk. I think I'm gonna take some vines and kind of decorate it in addition to what I use it for work, but it'll have some like green popping from it. And today we begin project acrylic dry erase board. So I watched Judy the organizer's video on her acrylic dry erase board. It was so informative. I don't pretend to be an expert at this, but I will say that it was very hard to find a thick acrylic now because of how it's being used during the pandemic. And what I learned in my process is if your acrylic is on the thinner side, you need more standoff screws. It's more likely to bend, so you need more points to prevent bending. Once all the holes were drilled into my acrylic sheet, I proceeded to drill holes in the wall for my standoff screws. They come with drywall anchors, and so I installed my drywall anchors for my standoff screws and then proceeded to secure my acrylic dry erase panel to those standoff screws. You can see here that my acrylic sheet looks like it still has kind of a bend to it or a wave to it. So I knew I was going to have to add more standoff screws to prevent more of that surface area from bending. And that did the trick. Now I'm just going to clean it off with my dust buddy here and show you how it works. That is all for part 1 of this video. Make sure you stick around for part 2. I will see you in the next one. Bye.